and they do help with inflation. Inflation is constantly eroding our balance sheet. So we need to have an asset like Bitcoin to counteract that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to bring on someone I'm lucky enough to call a friend, Antonio Lombardo, a pillar to the Tampa Bay entrepreneurial community. Thank you for stopping by on a return episode.
Dude, I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me back. It's
Oh,
awesome.
I'm so excited to have you, everyone. I hang my license with the Lombardos, of course, in the real estate side, but he's got his hands in a whole lot now that is buzzing in entrepreneurship. Had to bring him back. Bitcoin, AI, he's building AI bots with one of his companies. So, everyone, buckle up for an awesome show here on That Entrepreneur Show. Thank you for tuning in and making this a top 2.5% global show. We can't do it without great guests, great listeners. And today, Antonio is bringing in a lot of expertise. Not just we know him from his earlier shows, building a powerhouse real estate community here in Tampa and other states now, but he's got insurance practices. He's got work with Bitcoin, I mentioned, building AI bots. I don't even know where to start. Maybe the building AI bots is really exciting. We'll have everyone buckle up for some Bitcoin talk. But walk us through what got you involved in that, Antonio.
Man, it's been a long ride. I've been self-employed since I graduated from Michigan State back in 2009. Started out in real estate and got into a couple other businesses that are related, more recently insurance. But really, since 2021, I got really heavy into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is something that I did a lot of research in. Bitcoin mining is something that I do, and I started a small Bitcoin mining fund in a company that mines Bitcoin. And then I started just backing our businesses with Bitcoin at the financial level as a treasury reserve asset, which has actually been huge. I mean, if you follow the price of Bitcoin, my companies have done better on the Bitcoin holdings than they have in the actual business themselves, especially since we've hit some slowdowns in the market. So that was a powerful move. And I've been really trying to promote that for other business entrepreneurs to invest in Bitcoin and use it as a treasury reserve asset. And then that kind of led into AI because, Bitcoin, I don't dabble in other cryptos. It's Bitcoin only for me. But Bitcoin is natively a digital asset. When OpenAI really hit the ground running, I think it was back in 2022, the world changed. I was at my pastor's house and, he's using ChatGPT to look up and reference scripture. Like, I think all of us now are using AI to some extent in our daily lives, in our businesses. I dove into it heavily the last couple of years to really revamp all of my employees use AI, different Grok, ChatGPT. We dabble in quite a few other platforms. And then about 3 months ago, so the start of this year, my business partner and I started building AI agents, agentic AI. So, a lot of people are using something like ChatGPT as a prompt. You can speak to it or you can type as a prompt. But when you start tying in AI into your CRM, into other applications in the cloud, and that it can actually perform tasks, that's when it really starts to get powerful. So we're really, really excited about agentic AI.
I'm excited for you and everyone. That's just a glimpse into what he's building. What has been the biggest pain point maybe with building the AI bots?
There's a learning curve for me. My background isn't in IT. My background has been real estate. So, I've been diving in the last few years, learning how to code, learning how different platforms work for using AI and tying in AI agents into other API calls for other software. I think it's the learning curve. There's a lot to learn. And the other thing too is that it moves so fast. I mean, every like 3 or 4 months, a new platform comes out. They completely revamp their large language models and there's new software that comes out all the time. So like just trying to stay on the front end of what applications to use. Is there a better application to use? What new one has come out? That's been pretty intense.
It sure is. I mean, I just feel not knowing any AI will hold you back in life. AI may not take your role specifically, but someone knowing how to leverage AI may take your role. Would you agree with that?
I do agree with that. I think everyone should learn how to use AI because your role will be enhanced greatly, either for your own benefit or for an employer's benefit. Companies have to adapt and use AI. They have to. And we have AI bots in our insurance agency now that are doing maybe a quarter to like a third of the work that our customer service reps are doing. So most of it's behind the scenes right now, but it's pulling documents, it's processing documents, It's doing all the stuff that our CSRs don't have to do so that they can be more forward facing to our clients. And we haven't laid anyone off for it, but their jobs have gotten to be more enjoyable. They're more efficient at what they do. And like we're getting better ratings for our customer service.
I like that. My show notes are great. And now using AI to supplement your staff and help them become more efficient. I think that's absolutely genius because some of those more tedious tasks are time-consuming tasks. So finding a way to streamline with AI seems freaking awesome. When can we expect to see some kind of rollout with your AI bots, or are they already out right now?
So I'm actually building them for businesses that I own. I am working with a couple of clients right now that I've known for years. We're still very early on. So this is kind of like we're doing beta testing of different platforms. None of them at this time are going to be like customer focused. So you won't even know that they're being developed or used. But our businesses have benefited greatly from it. And we're dabbling with new applications all the time. So even if there's not a direct deployment really like being considered, we're still beta testing new applications that could be used in the future or could lead to another project idea in the future. So a lot of like research and development is being done right now.
I love that you've always done your due diligence, everything ever since I've met you, and now we're going all over 10 years. So everyone, stay on the lookout. We're going to find out his contact info at the end of the show. But as I promised, it won't be as real estate intensive like his earlier show. This time, he's got a lot going on with Bitcoin. He's been an advocate for Bitcoin forever. And I thought he can bring a lot of learning to the show today because there's a lot of confusion. We're in a dip right now, and everybody saw the presidency maybe changing things. So why don't we talk about the present state here with Bitcoin as we're recording this the end of March?
Well, it's a crazy time. So I never expected the United States president to be promoting Bitcoin as a reserve asset, not only for people to use, but even starting the Bitcoin strategic reserve that he has done. And now there are bills going through Congress that might, if they get passed, they might allow the US government to actually buy more Bitcoin. Right now, they are just holding the Bitcoin that they've seized in the past, but that's a huge move.
Yeah.
So it's been recognized not only by BlackRock last year when they launched the ETFs, plus 11 other issuers of ETFs, that this is a real institutional asset. But now you have countries literally stacking Bitcoin. I mean, that is unreal. Because 2 or 3 years ago, we had an anti-crypto army. It was still looked at as a fad or maybe a Ponzi scheme. All these things you've heard, like hackers use it. Well, so does the U.S. government, and so do our largest financial institutions now. So it's an exciting time to be stacking Bitcoin, to have a reserve of Bitcoin. Now, the price is going to be pretty interesting to follow because right now, Trump is implementing tariffs and doing things that are like moving the whole stock market. Everything is in flux right now. Bitcoin's getting caught up in that too. So we peaked out at like $108,000 just a few months ago.
I know.
And we've been kind of tumbling since, and kind of holding. I think it dropped against it like this morning early. So it's just a roller coaster ride, man. Like that's the biggest thing with Bitcoin is if you're going to be investing in Bitcoin, you have to be okay with volatility. The good news is volatility can take you to the moon. It can go up, but the volatility comes down too. And so you've got to be able to weather that choppy water, weather that storm, if so to speak, to get the long-term gains. But the alternative to volatility is just a flat line. And that's not going to get you anywhere when inflation is constantly burning a hole in our pockets. So Bitcoin, for me, is a great solution to fighting inflation. Because inflation is a headwind for any business, is a huge, massive headwind. We're all trying to keep up with that 8% hurdle rate. Well, dude, you have to work extra, extra hard to beat that 8% inflation rate and then grow past that. It's a lot of work.
So you're saying don't panic right now as the price is going lower. It's actually a good time to stack.
It's a good time to buy Bitcoin right now. Absolutely. But no one knows what it's going to do tomorrow. No clue. But I'll tell you that I feel pretty confident 10 years from now, 5 years from now, Bitcoin is going to be worth a lot more money than it is today. Just look back at the past. It's been growing pretty fast.
And that's incredible advice as someone who's been in investing, as he said, since he's graduated college, focusing real estate, focusing on assets that are going to continue to grow in worth. And now he's not even focused on that. Julie, if you don't know Julie, absolute rock star, other half of Lombardo. She's been on the show. Look her up. She's got the Tampa real estate market on lock. But now Antonio has found this such worthwhile to dedicate so much of his time and resources to Bitcoin. It's absolutely incredible. What are some things we should know about Bitcoin coming up right now?
Well, it's still being developed as an institutional asset. So even though we've had all these major milestones, there still aren't a lot of companies at the public level or even smaller businesses that are using it as a treasury reserve asset yet. GameStop, famous company for its meme, kind of connotation, just announced that they're going to be stacking Bitcoin. So they just raised $1.3 billion yesterday. I think they close on Monday, that loan to buy Bitcoin. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin drop and then spike back up on that purchase. And you've got MicroStrategy that's buying Bitcoin. You have Semler Scientific. I mean, there's dozens and dozens of companies now buying Bitcoin, but there's still a long way to go. There's still a lot more that aren't. So my biggest thing is start watching, start researching. If you don't know much about Bitcoin, or you still think it's something kind of bizarre or you haven't been focused on, now's the time to really give it a serious look.
Oh man, well, you certainly inspire me. Everyone, definitely look to add to your portfolios. If you like what he's saying, we're going to find out his contact in just a few moments. But here, we touched on AI, we touched on the Bitcoin, but I do want to show some love to the insurance company that we're building those AI bots for. Let's talk about that.
Oh, absolutely. I love insurance too. This is the boring business, and that's what I love most about it. And my partners and I both do. So it's a sure and steady. It's kind of like real estate. Even though real estate's more cyclical, insurance, from an agency perspective, is a very slow growth but stable business. So it fits really, really well in a portfolio of other companies or assets like Bitcoin, for instance, that are fluctuating all the time. So 3 years ago, we actually started buying other insurance agencies. So we purchased 4 other agencies from mostly retiring agency owners here in Tampa Bay. And that has been a great success for us and for them. So we've been able to get them a really good price, great terms on an exit. And then for us, we're building a portfolio over time. Again, the risk for us with insurance is that inflation rate. So even though insurance premiums tend to go up and they do help with inflation, inflation is constantly eroding our balance sheet. So we need to have an asset like Bitcoin to counteract that. And that's where those have worked great hand in hand. And now implementing AI to help that company become more efficient, possibly more profitable here in the near future is going to be a really great strategic advantage. So I'm really excited about that.
Oh man, I got in the show notes, long-term investments, AI. Oh man, I've got you typed up, ready to go. Antonio, what's next for you? As we get now into the later quarters of the year, first quarter is officially done.
Yeah.
What are we focusing on specifically? Can we give any teasers to our audience?
That's crazy. I would say that you can expect a lot more AI. That's really the primary focus right now. I've learned a lot about Bitcoin. I'm not developing a lot on Bitcoin directly, other than through some small projects that I'm beta testing. But AI is going to be really, I know that's already been a buzz for a while, but you're going to see more and more companies implementing AI in their businesses. And I think most people are seeing that in companies they might work for right now. That's going to be the number one thing for 2025 and onward.
There's a lot of AI being used in my businesses, the podcast and the back end. I'm not talking about editing because we still do human editing because I think it's a far difference. But as far as preparation and planning and posting, AI can save 20 minutes down to 2 minutes very, very quickly. And aggregating over time is great. But I'm going to ask you one question I've asked you before, Antonio, as we sign off, because your perspective may have changed. If you could sit down with any entrepreneur today, dead or alive, at this point of your journey, no longer in the real estate centric world, who would you choose to speak with?
It would today be Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy. I'm a big believer of what he does for that business, but I think that we're going to see MicroStrategy come out to be one of the most valuable companies on the planet as Bitcoin continues to grow and become adopted and become worth more. He pivoted his company. So he was running a zombie software company that really wasn't going anywhere. It was producing cash flow, but he was sitting on a mountain of cash, and cash devalues over time. So he had a crisis on his hands, especially when 2020 hit and the Fed printed 45% of the entire money supply during their response to COVID. So he had a huge problem. This was going to either put him out of business slowly, and he was like just run a zombie company into the ground, or he would take a risk, and he adopted Bitcoin. That was the big risk. And that turned out to be a huge strategic advantage for his business. And it's one of the top traded companies in the world right now. And there are some other companies that are now following his suit. Like I mentioned, GameStop just literally yesterday. There's a company called MetaPlanet in Japan. They're one of the hottest traded stocks in Japan, and they copied the Michael Saylor MicroStrategy, or now the company's called Strategy playbook. And it's fascinating to see I've been in close proximity to Michael Saylor at Bitcoin conferences, but I haven't spoken to him directly. So if I could have a sit down, have a dinner with the guy and just like, shoot it straight and get it real, I think that would be fascinating.
Oh man, that really would be. I'm sure it'd be a lot of excitement for you. Where would the meeting go down if you could pick the location too?
I would pick his house. He's got a beautiful home in Miami with a yacht outside. He's done very well for himself.
Oh man, well, we'll have to tag him when it goes live. And everyone, I hope you enjoyed Antonio's return to the show because I know I did. I always love to see his face. He always inspires me to keep growing and keep expanding. And now hearing all of the great things he's been up to since we last spoke, I can't wait to bring him back on later on in the year to hear what's next. But Antonio, thank you so much. Where can we find you online and all this cool stuff you're working on?
I'm on Facebook and I'm on X as well. So I spend a lot of my time on X now.
What, your name is the handle?
Yeah, Antonio J. Lombardo is the handle.
Antonio J. Lombardo. Go follow him, connect with him. He's a great guy to have in your corner. I've known him for a long time, and I, again, am always impressed by how he continues to grow. My name is Vincent A. Lanci, and this is That Entrepreneur Show. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for helping keep this show a top show. So let me show some love to our show partner, John Ford, with the empathyset.com. He has an empathy card set, empathy app, everything to help you as an entrepreneur. And with that, we're signing off today here in the Tampa area. Antonio, thank you so much for joining us here on That Entrepreneur Show.
My pleasure, Vincent. Thanks for the opportunity.